Hey there everyone, Hitesh here and welcome to this new section. In this section, we're going to talk about database and we will be picking up MongoDB as our database. So the goal is really simple. We now know that how we can create CRUD APIs, and we also know that how we can deal up with multiple structs can be dependent on that and all of those models. So we're going to not focus our attention onto these having multiple models and having dependency on each other's and relation. We won't be doing that. Rather, we would be bringing our attention more onto the database side. So how application can have some of the data which can go back and forth and perform all the CRUD operations in the database. So this will help us a lot in understanding the interaction that happens with the database. Now, there are a lot of ways how you interact with the database, and especially over the time, you're going to see that a lot of ORMs are going to come up, and ORMs are actually much better way of handling the database. That's what I personally feel. They make your life a lot more easier. Surely, a lot of people who are very much worried about performance, I'm not talking about people who are worried about like 2 million, 5 million queries, people above that. They are going to be definitely worried that if we inject ORM, it might make my application slower. But to be honest, 5 million is pretty much big of a query that you work around with. Anything above that is where. But we are going to go ahead into the extreme of that. We will be using direct MongoDB drivers, no ORM, nothing as such. We will be directly using the drivers from MongoDB so that you get a better idea of how things actually work with that. Now, the great thing is we will be again taking help of the GorillaMux so that we get more revision. It's a nice library to define all of your routing. It doesn't do much, doesn't do any extraordinary things, so I love that. Definitely, there are more libraries which you can use for routing. They are almost same syntax, just few things here and there. Now, apart from this, the one great thing that is done by the MongoDB team is they have got a dedicated subdomain, which is go.mongodb.org. And here you can find the client and the drivers for Atlas, MongoDB, OOPS, and all of that. So that is one really interesting thing. And for this tutorial, a lot of help actually came up from the blog of MongoDB. They have like too much in detail of depth. I have abstracted some of that and made a little bit easier version of that. So apart from this, yes, I'm still on the team of everything local. I do have MongoDB installed locally on my system, but I believe a lot of you might be watching it just for on the go and something, and you probably don't have MongoDB installed. So I know MongoDB installation takes a little bit while, and it's a quite exhaustive process for some of us. So I will be using the managed MongoDB, which is known as Atlas. And again, it's really almost same. In case you have local installation, then you just write the localhost version and the port of MongoDB. If you use Atlas, there is a URL given to you that you use there. So let's go ahead and bring up this application together. At least let's have some structure ready in this video. So let's go ahead and create a new folder, 25th. Can you imagine? This is 25th. We are so far into this one. Let's call this one as Mongo API. Yeah, sounds a reasonable name. And we're going to go ahead and create a new file into this main.go. Now, one more interesting thing that we're going to do. So far, we haven't not arranged any of our files into multiple files and the directory structure. We are going to do that here. Now, I'll show you the basics of how things goes. We'll put controllers into separate file, model separate, router separate. But still on top of that, there is a chance that you might want to arrange a little bit more on top of that. Feel free to go ahead and do that. Okay, moving on. So a couple of things that we are going to require. The first one is, of course, GorillaMux. So let's go ahead and copy this one and bring this up. So let me open this up. Please open this into an integrated terminal. Let's initialize the mod as well. So we're going to say go mod init, and let's call this one as, let's use the full one here. So we're going to say github.com/my name, and then Mongo, if I can write that, Mongo API. So there we go. Package name is nice and easy. And now we can go ahead and bring in GorillaMux, which should be super fast. And we have never brought in these ones here. So we are going to be working with MongoDB Go drivers directly, not the Atlas Go client. There is a separate method how you work with the rest of these three guys, Atlas, OPS manager, operation manager basically, and the realm. We are not talking any of that. We are talking mainly on the Go driver. It again is hosted on GitHub, and you can see a whole lot of examples and usage and all of that. So if you look on the usage, they give you a whole lot of idea, and we definitely will take a lot of help from this one here. Right now, all I'm interested in is this guy, which is go get go all of this. So yeah, this is what I want. So I'm gonna go ahead, copy this, and I'll say, hey, just go ahead and bring this one in. This one is going to take a little bit while because this is the very first time they're downloading it, and we'll bring in, and hopefully we will be able to see the checksum here. So this is go mod, and there we go. A whole lot of stuff came in. So this is why I told you this is so important, because it is dependent on so many of the things, and sometimes you might want to verify and check all of that. So notice here it brings us the crypto, it brings us the sync, which we haven't discussed yet, but there is a plan to actually have videos on that as well, and a whole bunch of other things. But in the Go mod, we can see that the require is changed now. It says, hey, bring in the stack, snappy, mux, compress. There is so much coming in. And yes, we'll be using a lot of it. Okay, let's go ahead and close this. So this is all good. Now we need an instance of MongoDB so that we can work on with that. Not right now, but eventually we need that. So let's go ahead and let me go ahead and quickly sign in. And I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, go ahead and sign in. Okay, so this is how it's going to look like whenever you're going to first sign in into the Atlas. It's really simple. Couple of things that you have to keep in mind is the network access. Right now, we don't have any access being given to anything at all. And there is a database access, so there is no user being created as well. We are going to create them on the go. So let's go on to the databases directly and say, let's build a database. We want to go for shared one, which is free. Of course, obviously, that's going to be the choice. Let's go ahead and create this. This usually takes a little bit of while, few seconds. Don't worry, I'll just fast forward that part. And go ahead and choose any one of that. So I'm going to choose Mumbai, which is very nearby to me. I'll be on AWS, but feel free to choose anyone which and wherever you are comfortable with. And rest of the things, we don't need to change anything at all. We're going to just click on Create Cluster. Now this one here is going to take some time. Until it is done with all the phases, I cannot do anything. So this is going to take some time. I'm going to fast forward the video. You just go ahead and grab an iced tea in the meantime. Okay, so I hope you are back with your coffee break or iced tea break or whatever you had. And now here also I can see that I got a database deployed up here. And now I want to get a connection with that. Now the connection is not like by default. You have to provide a couple of steps here. So they're really easy as well. So go ahead, click on connect. And it says, how do you want to connect MongoDB shell, your application, or MongoDB Compass? I'll walk you through with the Compass. In case we don't need Compass in this case, in case you don't want to install that, we can just see in the web browser itself. We want to connect our application in that. It's going to say, hey, you can go ahead and connect with this, but probably yours is going to give you a little bit of the issue because your username or password or anything is not being created. Looks like I do have a user up here. So there we go. I need to delete this so that I can show you that how it works from the scratch. So there we go. And network access, I guess I need to delete that as well so that you can see that. And don't you worry, these are all you can create. So as soon as you're going to have a database and you'll try to click on connect, this is going to give you some of the things that, hey, I don't have any user. So you need to create a user first and then have to define who can access based on IP, and then you can work with that. So this is what you are going to see for the first time. So I'm going to go ahead and create a user, which is going to have a name of Learn Code Online and password of Hitesh. I know very bad password, but by the time you will be watching this video, this whole instance will be gone. So let's go ahead and create a database user for that. And it says you'll need these credentials in the next step. So yes, I can remember that. And we're going to say choose a connection method. I want to choose an application. It says this is the URL that you are going to need. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this and we'll keep it safe somewhere. Now notice here the setup is connection, but you cannot connect yet because your firewall is going to come in between. Now I think they give you an option of connecting the firewalls or setting up the firewalls. Yes. So it says allow and access anywhere. So in the step 2, it just says that, hey, although this is not an ideal setting, you require a little bit more of experience as an architect to allow access from what URLs and all of that. That is discussed in my AWS course. So we're going to just allow everything up here. So we're going to say, hey, just allow everybody. So yeah, that's okay, at least as of now. Choose a connection method. And again, this is the same string that we had before also. And we're going to just close this. Now keep this string handy with yourself. In case you don't keep it, just go ahead and come up here and you can copy it anytime. Okay, so this is the basics of it. And if I hopefully do a quick refresh, this should be all deployed, hopefully. If not, no worries. Okay, so this is all done. And now let's go back up here. So this is our main file. And how we're going to work through with that, we're going to create different folders of that. Now keep just one thing in mind as a last final note for this video. In the application which are designed in Golang, it is expected that in the root directory of the project, there is going to be just one Go file. It can be main.go file or it can be other Go file, but it should be just one main.go file. If I'm going to go ahead and create more files just in the root directory like controllers.go and all of that, they are going to create an issue. So I need to create a folder, and inside those folder, I have to create more Go files. So just keep that in mind, nothing of too much to be worried about, and that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and catch up in next video.